Welcome along to SBR Formula 1 Season 2 Round 2, and we're taking on a very tricky track of Autopolis, or Autopolis, depends how you say it, I don't know, I'm going to go with Polis. And well, the news at Jordan is that Lewis Dykes is out and Adam Piper's in for this event, maybe for the next, and maybe to the end of the season. But let's go to the grid. So I'm your host Ben Milden for this second race of the championship. Will's starting well up as we saw with the grid, very good for Benetton, and his teammates at the back on hard tyres, Adam on hard tyres as well, and a couple of others at the back, but we'll cover that as we go. I'm waiting for the red lights on, green lights go, and Will's jumped the start as we saw, and he's moved too early. That's going to put him right to the back of the grid, but a good start by the Ferraris that are bursting through the pack. Sean especially down the outside, flying along, and well, Nathan's outbraked himself. He's into the back of Jake. I don't know if Jake survived that moment. He has. He's all over the back of Lewis, in fact, and also Leon down the grass and in front of everyone. He's gained 4 positions and got a penalty for that one without a doubt. Lewis trying to hold off Jake. They're going side by side through the first sequence of corners. Jake is going to take the lead. Sean, he's got the inside and does take the lead. Lewis tried everything he could but couldn't hold on to it. Ferrari's third, Ferrari fourth. Then we've got, it looks like Liam in 5th and Nathan 6th, so not a bit over ambitious from Nathan, and that's dropped him right back as Michael's fallen off the back in the Leighton house. But it's Ben 3rd, the first of the Ferraris. 4th is Sean. The rest come through, bit of contact there. That was Nick into the side of, I think it's probably Adam. But yeah, Leon terrorised everyone into turn 1, went up on the grass, down the inside, somehow didn't kill everyone, and well, although he's running 7th at the moment, the stewards did in fact give him a penalty after the race, which is a drive through at the next race. Nick straight back at Adam on the hard tyres, remember, so he's very slow in these early stages. A last minute replacement for the poor Lewis, whose unfortunate Thrustmaster wheel has destroyed itself. Jake leads the end of lap 1, and that was a very quick lap. Lewis 2nd, holding on for now. Ben dropping off in 3rd, got his teammate just behind him in 4th. Liam 5th and Nathan in 6th. Leon 7th, but he's completely out of position because of that shortcut. As well, Adam losing out to another place, so he's carrying on with the hard tyres for now. And I think Chris came in. And oh, Sean's off. Sean's dropped the Ferrari. He's lost it at turn 3, and well, comes back on, just about gets avoided by Leon, and that's the disaster for the Ferrari driver, the man that finished, I think it was 3rd at the first round in Fuji, sorry, and that's dropped him down to 8th place, just ahead of Brian, who also did a very good job in qualifying. And Will's off as well. What's happened to him? He's outbraked himself trying to get past Adam and onto the grass, and unfortunate for Will. And it was his teammate that pitted. Then we're going back to see that, so he did 1 lap on the hard tyres, which is all you have to do. That explains why he qualified last as well. Chris completely out of position for his speed, and off he goes. And now he can just use the soft tyres for the rest of the race, and also Michael doing the same, which is probably why he didn't stop for turn 1. So he continues, but it's Jake that leads ahead of Lewis, Ben, and then it is Liam, Nathan ahead of Dean, who's up there in 6th. Then it's Leon still 7th ahead of Sean, and we've got the 2 Bravens battling with Brian ahead of Luke. Benetton's quite a way back, but we expect them to come through. Jake already starting to pull a little gap. Lewis desperately trying to hang on to him. Ben up there in 3rd, hates this track. Liam just about kept that on the track, but he'll be happy to be up in 4th right now. Sean will be devastated where he is, and the that looked like that was Nick going off the track. It is Nick in the Tyrrell, number 3, gets back on ahead of Will, but Will can't find a way through. So Benetton's 13th and 14th right now. Well, we know why Chris is 14th, we know why Will's 13th, so they'll have to get their act together and try and get up through the field. Top 3 starting to pull away though. Liam's got a little bit of a gap now on Nathan. Sean will be desperate to get back through as fast as he can, but this track not the easiest to overtake, although Luke has got past his teammate Brian, and Will down the inside of Nick gets that done. Now he can go on about his race, up into 12th position for Will the Frenchman. Down the inside for Nick, but that's not going to work. Jake still with a pretty handy lead, 27.6 last time through. I think that is hard to see again on this, and much quicker than the rest. And here comes Sean. His first victim is going to be Leon, and down the inside up into 7th place, just about gets it stopped. Leon tries to get back at him over the curbs, but not going to happen. Adam still going around on the hard tyres for now. Just going to try and take them to I would say either the end of this lap or the next one. So yet again, it's going to be hard work trying to keep hold of your car and keep hold of the fuel strategies, tyre strategies as they play out. But as usual, by the end of the start of the last lap, we should know who's where. But all different strategies. That's what makes this racing so interesting. Tyres, fuel, and how many times you decide to pit. And Luke's passed Leon as well, so Leon's now starting to drop steadily backwards after his suicidal attempt at turn 1. Benetton's 12th and 13th as Adam pits, so he's coming off the hard tyres, so he's done 3 laps on those, maintained a pretty good position, and he can go now as hard as he likes to the end of the race on the soft tyres, use as many as he wants, doesn't have to think about the hard tyres anymore. So comes back out in 14th place, but with a bit of clear air until he catches Nick. Lewis with a good lap last time through, closed the gap a little bit on Jake, and Nathan all over the grass in his attempts to catch Liam. Sean not catching Dean as quickly as we would have thought. The two Brabhams starting to catch Leon. The Benetton's starting to bring themselves back into play in this race. Nick being caught by Adam already. But can Jake respond to Lewis whacking in that fastest lap of the race last time through? Ben not quite on the same pace as those guys, but he's quicker than Liam, and he's quicker at the moment than Nathan, who's being boxed up behind Liam. Dirty Air is quite strong on this track. It's quite hard to find overtakers. Luke's all his good efforts in the first laps gone to nothing. Now he's come off the track, and he has to be careful rejoining, and he is. Great driving by Luke, but I'd be disappointed with that. He was flying up through the field in the Brabham, and all for nothing at the moment. He caught the curb and the back stepped out, and that was the end of that. Jake's still leading this race though, and well, can Lewis do anything about it? Lewis is keeping in touch with him at least, and again this is going to go down to the last lap. Jake taking 2 tenths out of Lewis that last time through. Ben's about 6 tenths off the pace of these guys, but he's, like I say, he is quicker than the cars behind him. And Sean's starting to steadily edge towards Dean's Tyrrell, who's doing a great job at the moment. Benetton's still look dangerous to me though. I have to keep an eye on them towards the end. Luke will be pretty angry with himself, but all he can do is get back on it and see if he can get those places back. Oh, Luke, and that's Lewis off at the really fast sweeper down the bottom of the hill there, and he's very lucky not to loop that and end up in the barriers, but he lives to fight another day, and he's just going to have to watch himself around these next couple corners because the tyres are dirty, and so you can see the car stepping out, and that's brought Ben back into play, at least with Lewis, and that's given Jake a good lead. There's mistakes like that that can be crucial at the end of races. We've seen it in the last race. Just if you catch back markers or something like that, you lose a bit of time, it all adds up at the end of the race. Liam's still pretty comfortable against Nathan, to be fair. Nathan's just sat there, maybe saving fuel. We know Nathan's good at that. Dean doing a great job holding off the other Ferrari of Sean. Benetton's have worked their way up to 8th and 9th with a few pit stops and a few accidents for people. But Will still leading ahead of Chris. in that private team battle. Luke 10th now, got back ahead of his teammate and Leon. As Leon pits. So he will get a drive-through penalty for that first corner, as we mentioned, for the next race. So he'll have to come in. He's not allowed to put any tyres on or any fuel. He's just drive in, come out again. And sideways from Lewis now, as he's still trying to catch Jake, and now try to pull back away from Ben. And Nathan's moved on to the back of Liam. Sean has moved on to the back of Dean, so we're going to get some battles now. Again, not the easiest track to overtake, but the best way to do it is to try and make the person in front of you make mistakes, and Liam almost made one there. Got a very big opposite lock on the downhill corner, and this one's probably the worst. It's such a clumsy corner, trying to break down and get down through the gears. You've got understeer because your tyres are pretty worn out, and you can see Liam's are pretty done now. Seems to have quite a lot of tyre wear on the front of his car. Compare that to Nathan, who's been sat there. And this is Nathan's moment. He's saved quite a lot of fuel. He's into the pits. And now he's going to look for clear air, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't put fuel in. He doesn't. He's gone again now. He'll just try and whack in some clear laps. If he can get some clear air. Here come the Bennettons, but he's out in front of them with plenty of time. So Nathan can get on with his race now. Start whacking in some fast laps before Liam pits. And see if he can jump him. Luke also comes out. And Nick's into the pits. Yeah, pretty cool looking Tyrrell. Brawn sponsorship. And he's going to do well to get out ahead of that Leighton House of Michael. Michael the sole Leighton House today. Unfortunately Jordan didn't make the race. And so it's down to Michael to score points for them. Jake though, good lead now after Lewis's errors. He's rattling in some good laps. Lewis about the same pace. Ben's dropping off into the 29s now. Lewis, he seems to have pretty good pace compared to Jake, so it's not over. So he has definitely pulled a little bit back. Now he pits, and Ben's in as well. Williams versus Ferrari in the pit stops. Red 5 in first, and then the 28 Ferrari just behind. Lewis taking on a bit of fuel. Ben doesn't take on much, and they come out pretty much together. And here comes Sean and Dean, and Ben's looking down the inside of Lewis. He's going to try and take the place back, or take the place off him, and doesn't manage it. Thinks better of it. It's a long race. Also Will's in, as is Luke, as Liam comes out in 8th. Luke's in. Again, we're probably kicking himself a bit. And he comes out behind Will. Also Brian pits, but these come out in 10th and 11th place for those two. Here's Brian. Can he get out ahead of Nick? Check that in a bit. But Dean, meanwhile, is up to 2nd place in the Tyrrell. We're getting a nosebleed at the minute with that sort of position for a Tyrrell. Jake's still yet to pit. So not only is he fast, he's got good tyre wear. So Dean 2nd, and it's Sean 3rd, Nathan 4th, Ben and sorry, not Nathan, Lewis 4th, Ben 5th. But now they're getting stuck behind Sean. Sean still has yet to pit. His tyres are pretty knackered. Lewis down the inside gets the place. Now Ben will try and get past his teammate, but his teammate's kind of in the way at the moment. Sean's still yet to pit, and I'm sure he'll be getting told to go move, and he does it himself. Lets the Ferrari through the number 28 car, and now he can chase after Lewis as Jake pits from the lead, comes back out, and does he come out in the lead? Ooh, here comes Dean, and Dean takes the lead. He's not led a race yet. He takes the lead, and take a picture because it's not going to last, because Jake's up the inside of him and taking it back. The man has no heart, but Dean can officially say he's led a race in SBR. As Ben down the inside of Lewis, as Lewis got caught out by Dean and Jake. Ben's nipped through and taken the place, and now he's stuck behind his brother, who's on worn tyres, and he's doing a really good job with the tyre wear, so he's just taking it a bit longer, doing an alternate strategy. But these two will be desperate to get past that Tyrrell. as they head up to one of the overtaking places at the hairpin. Ben's getting a slipstream off the Tyrrell down the inside, and he will take second place from the Tyrrell. And now he'll try and pull away, and it's a pretty hard place to overtake down through this section. So definitely Lewis is going to lose some time now, and in fact you can see Nathan's on him. So Lewis really will be cursing that black and white car. He's lost a position already, and he's going to lose one more if he's not too careful. He's run wide. Nathan up the inside. He's got it, but the inside's for Lewis the next corner. Then as they head towards another overtaking opportunity, which is out of this last corner, Lewis is getting really badly bulked by the Tyrrell. Tyrrell's doing nothing wrong. He's battling for position, but he pits. And now Nathan's got a hell of a run on his teammate. So can he take the position down into turn one? He's got the slipstream. He ducks out and takes third place. Lewis tries to fight back around the outside, gets a bit onto the curb in the dirt, and surely Nathan will see that out and pass his teammate. And he's done so, but this is all costing Lewis time, and Ben's gone up the road. Dino comes out in 7th place behind Adam, ahead of Sean though in the Ferrari. We've got Will in 9th, Luke in 10th, and 11th for Chris from the back of the pack. Michael 14th and Leon 15th. Leon's race has just gone from bad to worse, to be honest. Is Jake leads Ben, so it's McLaren, Ferrari, then it's Williams, but not the order we thought it would be. Lewis lost a lot of time on his first couple of laps out the pits. Then we got Liam in 5th in the second McLaren. And then the surprise of the race so far is Adam in 6th place. But he's got Dean all over him on fresh tyres. And then Sean in 7th, who's probably not happy still with the spin that he had. The rest blast through. Brian doing a great job in 12th. That's good points. Jake it is. It's leading ahead of the surprise second place man, Ben in the Ferrari. Nathan ahead of his teammate, but Lewis won't be happy with that and be trying to take that back. Liam 5th. He'll be happy we can maintain that. In the background we can see a fight. It's Adam, Dean, and Dean all over the back now of Adam. Adam goes defensive on the inside, very defensive on the inside. Dean goes to the outside to try and take the place. It's a brave man that does that though, but he's done it with superior grip and a bit of bravery. He's got it done, and now Sean will look to do the same straight away, but can't. So Dean are trying to make the break while the Ferrari's stuck behind that Jordan. You get the feeling it won't be for very long. Adam's still fighting on with some pretty worn tyres now. Goes wide onto the curb. Sean's going to try and go around the outside, and again, well, Adam's been taken twice around the outside, but still doing a fantastic job in that Jordan. As the Bennettons close in, and Luke is really still pushing that Ram to its limits. Jake Goat, he'll be pleased with all this messing around. That will give him a nice cushion. And the winner a week ago at Fuji looks like he's on his way to another one. Although Ben and Lewis won't be over this, and even Nathan, you don't know what the fuel strategies are. You don't know. Well, you do know what the fuel strategies are. You can see the fuel for yourself, but we don't know what they're planning with a hard tyre. And yeah, people can get that wrong. We can get traffic, and who knows what lays ahead in this race. But Sean still will not be pleased the fact that he's not moving back through the field as fast as he had hoped. But like I say, it's a long race. We're not even at half distance yet. Looking back through the field, Michael struggling along. Jake consistent, fastest lap of the race as well, couple laps back. But Ben's still in sight, still close enough to respond if Jake makes an error. Ben not on a lot of fuel at the moment, so he's just taking advantage of the space that he's got. Williams still very close. Get the feeling that Lewis is a little bit quicker than Nathan at this stage. And Dean still holding off Sean and doesn't seem to be struggling against the Ferrari, to be honest with you. Sean really looking like he's struggling to keep up with it. Adam in 8th. ahead of the two Benettons. Will ahead of Chris. You can see there's Luke as well, still charging on. He's ahead of his teammate, who's 12th. And Michael in the pits with the Leighton House. Nathan Pitts from 4th. So back in 5 laps or 6 laps after he first pitted. And out he comes again. Not much fuel, but he's just doing small bursts by the looks of this in the race. 6 or 7 laps at a time. Liam's in. And he leaves the pits in 10th place. Adam as well is in the pits. So Liam leaves in 10th. Let's see where Adam comes out. It looks like he should come out in 11th. That seems to be a lot of fuel going in the Jordan. And it is. But he comes out in 11th place quite easily. And you can see a car there in the background that looked a bit like Brian. It is. And then the big gaps back to the final 3 drivers in the race that are not really in it. Kind of struggling around. Bound to get lapped once or twice in this race, I would imagine. Jake looking pretty controlled out front. Doesn't look too flustered. Just doing a nice consistent pace, sticking it in the 27s. Ben's in the 28s, as you can see, so he's got no answer to the McLaren. Although he'd be pretty pleased to be finished there. Lewis now with a bit of clear air, not being disturbed by his teammates' dirty air, who's now catching Michael to lap him. So you can presume Michael's going to get lapped twice in this race, because we're not at half distance yet, and he's been lapped already. And yep, he's going to allow. Looks like he's going to. Yep, he's going to let Nathan through at turn 1. Dean still trucking along well in 5th. Sean still not able to do anything about the Tyrrell Honda. Will still the first of the Benettons with Chris behind. And then Liam on fresh tyres. Luke comes into the pits and out again on the hard tyre. So I think we can presume he's going to do 1 lap on that and pit again. Blue flags for Michael, but no one's really close to him, so through the chicane, and then Ben's just coming up to that section now, so you can see the gap. It's tricky right-hander. There's Lewis up the curb, and Ben sideways. He's getting towards pit stop time, so those tyres are getting a bit tired of the abuse. Jake out of the last kink along the start-finish straight to complete another lap into the 28s now for him. And indeed Ben is in into this very tricky pit lane entrance, which is a little bit Mickey Mouse. The Ferrari driver pits from second place. Now what will he do? He's taking on a lot of fuel. Nathan goes past as well. So this is a long stop. So it's going to be quite a lot of fuel for the Ferrari. And he comes out on hard tyres, so he's decided now is the time. And he's come out. No, he hasn't come out in clear air. He's got the Tyrrell in front of him. Again, this is like Groundhog Day. Every time he comes out the pits, the Tyrrell Honda arrives on the scene. And it's Dean again. But Dean on the soft tyre should be okay. He shouldn't come under attack from the Ferrari on the hard tyre. And they can see Sean, who's really dropping back from the Tyrrell driver, to be fair. Liam getting involved with the Benettons, so his race isn't going as well, very well in the second stint. He's kind of getting held up now. In fact, he's getting very held up. He's trying to drive through the Benettons. He's probably getting double vision right now. And well, Liam's found an undercut there. He's gone around the inside, and if he can hold it there, he'll get the inside for the hairpin. Oh, Chris tries to defend, but it's too late. Liam down the inside takes away 8th place, and now we'll try and get after Will as fast as he can. But Jake pits from the lead, and there he is, number 1 McLaren Honda. See what he does with his tyres, and Lewis is in from 2nd place, as it was when he pitted. Let's see where he comes out. We're expecting Ben straight back in, to be fair, to get those hard tyres off, and there's a Jordan pitting in the background. Nathan tries to take the lead off Jake as Jake comes out, but bit of contact between them, but Jake holds it. Ben does pit to get off the hard tyres as Lewis comes out and almost gets wiped out by a Tyrrell of Dean again. Dean just well, doesn't care who he holds up. As the Ferrari comes out just behind the Benetton and Liam. So Ben has run the hard tyre now, but he's in traffic, so it's not technically worked out too well. Here comes Sean. He's out in 8th. Will's pitted and is in 10th. Probably will come out in 10th. He does. He's running the soft tyre still. So he'll probably put the hard tyre on towards the end. But Liam looks like he's being held up there by a back marker. Was that Leon? It looks like it's Leon. So Leon's race really has self-imploded. And in the background, Ben all over the back of Chris. And he'll do what Liam did a lap ago, down the inside out the hairpin. And the Ferrari driver gets that done. Benetton Ford, no match at the moment on worn tyres. Going back to Liam, as he got past that Jordan, we need to check that. Nick comes in, he's done a lap on the hard tyres by the looks of it. No, Liam's still behind the Jordan, and Leon's just ignoring the blue flags, still ignoring them, and this will be messing up Liam's race. You can see he's gone wide now, and he's still not letting through. And he'll be getting messages on the screen, and he'll be getting flashing blue lights and wave blue flags, as you can see. And he's finally realised that there's a McLaren behind him, and he lets him through, but that has destroyed Liam's race, and now he's almost taken Ben out. And well, you see Liam's not happy about that. He's kind of shaking his car down the straight as Chris pits. So Ben now onto the back of Liam, and now Leon's trying to race Ben into turn 1. So, well, not his finest hour, let's just say that. Ben trying to go around the outside of Liam. Liam comes across, protects his position. Ben now trying to get past the McLaren, looking right and left. And the hairpin's not really a place to overtake in these cars. And now they've got a blatant house in the way. And, well, Michael should be just pulling out the way and slowing down. He's not. He's now taking the racing line, and Liam's had enough of this. And, well, now Michael's off into the barrier. And, well, these back markers really need to observe these blue flags. They're not doing a great job of it. And that's 2 of them that's held up Liam. And in races where the tenths of a second can cost you a win, as we saw in Interlagos last season, losing time behind back markers is not something you want. And Michael seems to be woken up now, because he's letting Sean through, and Michael and Leon did receive penalties for that as well, for ignoring blue flags. There's Lewis there, or Nathan, setting the fastest lap of the race. It was Lewis. Becomes Dean in 4th, ahead of this squabble now for 5th. Ben all over the back of Liam. Can he get him into turn 1? Ferrari will hit the boost, no doubt about it. And he's closing on the straight. Liam's completely out of overtake. Defends the inside. Ben will think about a switch back on the exit. Liam's gone wide, in fact, and he's outbraked himself, and that's easy for Ben. And Ben passes Liam and up into 5th place. As what is going on here? And that was definitely looked like a Jordan to me. Let's see. So Sean comes into the first corner, and Leon's lost the car, and yeah, not his best day, let's just say. Adam's come through as well, and there's Leon recovering. Dirt on his tyres, so it was him, not Adam. Jake, though, none of this is affecting him, as the others are struggling and making mistakes. He's pulling away up front. His personal best lap of the race, as we saw Lewis do the fastest lap of the race. Nathan seems to be edging back into contention for a podium here, but it's between him and Ben for sure, and Lewis. We don't know which order they're going to be in. Dean doing a fantastic job with the Tyrrell, and now he's got again his brother behind him chasing him down. Liam's 6th, here's Sean in 7th. He's ahead of Adam, who's 8th. It's Nathan Pitts from 2nd in the Williams Renault, and there he is, number 6. Car driven by Riccardo Patrese back in the day, 1991. This season that we're covering. And out he goes as Dean pits, and out comes Nathan, then that's Nick, so it's not Dean. There's Dean in the pits, we got that right. Liam's in as well, so Liam's awful stint has come to an end. He's just going to have to hope he has some stellar stints from now on. Dean comes out, and that's Michael coming down the pits, and he's just... What happened there? And that's cost Dean a position to Adam, so we can see that Adams seems to have gone into the pit lane. In fact, yeah, he's tried to get a slipstream off the Tyrrell that was leaving the pit lane, and then lost it into turn 1, and this is a back marker trying to unlap himself on one of the lead cars, and Dean's got damage from that. He's lost a lot of time, and Michael did again get a penalty for that, but entering the pit exit to get a slipstream off a car that you're not even racing is pretty stupid driving, to be fair. And yeah, that's a bit of some of the stupidest things I've ever seen, to be fair. I don't know what else I can say about that. But Dean in 7th seems to have recovered from that. Damage is gone now, but he's lost out to Adam, and really he shouldn't have, so that could again affect his race. Brian pits from 12th. Brian doing a good job in this race. 12th's good result for the Brabham. Blue flags looking like for Nick and Leon. Hopefully they've realised their mistakes and they can start letting people through now. Not really racing anybody. Lewis in 2nd, Nathan 3rd. He needs to pull a gap to Ben in 4th. Remember, Ben's run the hard tyres. Here's Sean 5th, ahead of Adam 6th. Dean's recovered now in 7th, but he's lost a lot of time. He's got a gap to Will and a back marker between them. Leon there, just behind. He's a lap down, and then we got Will in 8th, Liam 9th. Liam really needs to get on with his race now if he's to get up there with the McLaren into the top 6, which is where that car belongs. All these guys placed in cars that reflected their speeds at the end of last season and what we saw in practice, pre-season. Some guys got a bit quicker since then, but really you'd expect the McLarens to be at the front, the Ferraris, the Williams cars to be up there, and then behind that it's pretty close. You normally have Benetton's, Tyrrells, Jordan's, Leighton Houses, and then the Brabhams at the back. But the Brabhams doing a great job today. They're punching above their weight. And the Benettons are the ones that have trying to come through the field after a pretty awful start. I mean, I know Chris started on the hard tyre, started last, and he's already up with his teammate who jumped the start, was pretty much last by the first corner. So it's not a great day for the Benettons, but it's slowly getting better as the race is going on. 10 laps to go. They're running 9th and 10th, and they can expect a bit more if they get the strategy right. Luke looks nailed on for 11th, his teammate's 12th. Jake, though, again, no issues for him, but again we need to see what the strategy is. Lewis in 2nd, his teammate 3rd, Ben 4th, but dropping back from Nathan, who's trying to get the gap he needs to take the place. Once the pit stops are done, Sean's 5th, but still hasn't run the hard tyre, so he's a bit further behind his teammate, and that shows really. Adam has run the hard tyre, he's 6th, so he's got a good chance of beating the Ferrari. Dean 7th, still hasn't run the hard tyre yet. Don't believe Liam has behind him either. Chris has, he's 9th, ahead of his teammate now. So that's, I would have thought we'll let him through on the start finish line. On different strategies, always good to play the team game. And there's a team's championship for the winner as well. So here's Jake. Let's see the gap back to Lewis and look at the fuel. So he's got just over a quarter of a tank. Lewis with a bit more fuel, which will mean a less, we won't have to stay in the pits as long as Jake. And then Nathan with about the same fuel as Jake, as in 3rd. I'll get the first of the Ferraris. Ben about the same fuel, maybe a bit more than Lewis, as in 4th. As Adam pits from 6th. And here's Sean, and then Dean with quite a lot of fuel. Liam, Adam then, let's see what he can do. Remember, he has run the hard tyre, started on it, did 3 or 4 laps on it, so he can leave now and back on the softs again and keep pushing probably to the end of the race now on that. His wheel pits as well. We haven't seen him run the hard tyre yet. Is this the time? Nope, softs again. So he's very much looking to do it on the last lap, I would say, like the majority of people. Here comes Jake, and it could be about time he stops as well, and he does. Here comes the number 1 McLaren, and this will be a set of softs again, I would have thought, unless he decides he wants to run the hard this lap. Lewis will go by into the lead. Nathan might get second, maybe a bit too far back. But here he comes now at the kink and along the start finish line. Jake leaves the pits, which are moving forward a bit, and he'll come up behind the other Williams, so it's a Williams 1-2. Jake third, and still to run the hard tyre, obviously going for the last lap again. Ben in fourth. His race is starting to come a little bit undone. It's looking like he might finish there, although he's still got a chance of beating Nathan. It's very much nip and tuck. It's just a case of when Nathan decides to put the final set of tyres on. Sean pits from 6th place as it was. Liam goes past, and again soft tyres for him, bit of fuel. He's going to come out behind the Benetton, so again disaster for him. He's going to have to try and pass that car. That's going to cost him tyre life, fuel, and obviously track time, as he's not really running to his optimal lap time. Luke in 11th place ahead of Nick, Leon in 14th, Michael very much 15th. Lewis leads the race ahead of his teammate. So now we're getting to crunch time in this race, 7 laps to go, and final pit stops to be made. Lewis stays out for another lap, comes across the line, well ahead of his teammate. When will Nathan pit? Not this lap, and he's got Jake closing him down pretty quick. But Nathan doing pretty good lap times in the 27s, which is much quicker than his teammate right now. Ben kind of no man's land at the minute, and he's pitting, and this will be his last pit stop to the end of the race. Having run the hard tyres, he won't need much fuel either, so he might still have a chance of a podium. Will he come out in traffic again though? Let's see. And he comes out the pits. Looks like he might be alright this time, although he's gone to the inside, and it's his brother again with the Tyrrell. Oh, this time he's not taking any hassle, and they have a coming together. But they both stay on the track and live to fight another day. But Ben needed to stay ahead of that Tyrrell, and this time he wasn't taking it. It would have been the third time he was stuck behind him. And now Dean's off. He's off into the dirt, and well, that's a disaster for him. Comes back on. Liam just about gets it stopped. There was a bit of contact, and then into the hairpin. Dean with dirty tyres, maybe braking a bit early, and Liam into the back of him, but Liam not taking the place, letting off the throttle, gives Dean the place back again, and they continue their fight through this fast left-hander. Liam desperate to get past the Tyrrell, but he's being held up again, so it's very much a case of what could have been for Liam. But that was actually reported to the stewards from both drivers. From the initial contact, Liam reported Dean. For the second contact, Dean reported Liam, but in the end the stewards felt that neither had done anything wrong and called it both a racing incident. Sean round the outside of Liam there with fresh tyres, take that, and the Ferrari round the outside of the McLaren, and Sean can get after that Tyrrell now, and maybe he can get some positions back later in this race, because he's not really had the pace. As Nathan comes out well ahead of Ben, but he still has the pit for the hard tyre. Here is Ben. So he's definitely within range. It's going to be pretty close. And Dean now almost trying to break the slipstream of the Ferrari a little bit, but realised he can't weave. Liam in. And Sean down the inside of the Tyrrell, and he takes it. The Ferrari driver locks up though. Did he go wide? Did he keep it on the track? He just does. Dean tries to retaliate though, down into turn 3. But nope, can't get that done. Liam comes out and is out on hard tyres. Yep, so he'll go to the end on hard tyres. That's well, I'll either do a lap on him and then pit again, but it's not ideal. Not the optimum strategy I would have thought. Chris in 10th now, having just pitted, and they're well ahead of Luke, who's way ahead of Brian, and Michael spins for, well, I've lost count. Lewis in then, this is crucial. Now what will he do with the tyres? Because it's kind of, again, a bit of a weird strategy. He's going to have to do 5 laps on the hard tyre, and we know how slow it is. And he's chose the hard tyre, so whether he's just going to do 1 lap and then come back in, put the softs on again. But really, you would have hoped to have gone a bit further into the race and done less laps on the hard tyre, because it's about 2 seconds a lap slower, to be fair. And he's going to have Nathan on him pretty soon. So Ben and Nathan definitely got a chance now at 2nd place. Sean ahead of Dean though, and he's rocketed away from the Tyrrell. So late on, Sean finds a bit of pace. Adam, though, surprise of the race, up in 7th place. And sorry for Jordan. And well, just what they needed. They lost their lead driver Lewis, but their sub driver seems to be doing a good job. So into the pits comes Liam. So he did 1 lap on those hard tyres. We wondered what the strategy was, and I think that's probably the right move. But it's quite late in the race to do that. He's going to have to do 4 laps on these. So if anyone gets caught out on the harder tyre at the end, he might be able to find a few places. But we'll see. It's like I say, it's hard to follow this until the last lap, and we know exactly what everyone is. But I would say Jake's going to whack those tyres on those hard tyres on at the last lap. Lewis, will he pit this lap, or will he just go to the end on these hard tyres? And he's carrying on, so he's going to go to the end now on those tyres. He's going to have to watch himself, because Nathan is absolutely storming after him. He's doing 27s where Lewis would be doing 29s, so 2 seconds a lap. He'd be with him very soon. But we do know that obviously, and as Michael goes off again, we do know that Nathan needs to put the hard tyre on, and Ben's trying his best to stay with him. He's doing 27s himself. He knows the story, he knows the script, he knows what he's got to do. He's got to try and keep Nathan in sight. The gap about 12 seconds. Sean in 5th. He still has to run the hard tyre. We know that Adam has run it. Dean comes in, and he'll just switch to the hard now, surely to the end. So you have to do about 3 laps on that. That's probably not a bad idea. And out it goes. And actually he's put a set of softs on again. So again, that's another weird strategy from the Tyrrell man. And still something for him to learn with the strategies, because if he still needs to run the hard tyres, so he's going to have to put that on again. And Liam's off at turn 1, ending a miserable race for him. It's just had such bad luck. So Autopolis not been a big improvement for Liam. He wasn't happy with 6th last week. He'd be less than pleased with being outside the top 8 right now. So let's just recap. Jake leads from Lewis, who doesn't have to pit again. Jake does. Lewis doesn't have to pit again. Nathan 3rd does have to pit again and put the hard tyre on. Ben 4th doesn't have to pit again. He's all sorted. 5th is Sean. He's got to put the hard tyre on. See the gap between the 2 Ferraris, about the length of the straight-ish, 3/4 of the length of the straight. Adam 6th is looking pretty good if we can keep that Ferrari in sight. Knowing that the Ferrari has to pit again for hard tyres. Will is 7th, definitely needs to put the hard tyre on. Dean 8th, the same, needs to put the hard tyres on. Behind him Chris doesn't. And Liam 10th, but he's just going to have to hope that he gains positions from these guys pitting late on. Luke 11th, another pretty good drive from him. Leon's off the track, and here's Michael, and he's off again into the wall. Pretty much the story of his race as well, unfortunately. A bit more practice needed for those guys, I think, as Jake comes in then. So start of lap 29 after 2 laps on the hard tyres. This could give Lewis a chance. He's used to those tyres. And out goes Jake. Let's see the gap, and it's not that big. Lewis has got a chance of winning this race if he can catch up to Jake. It just all depends how he copes with these hard tyres. Nathan's still to pit. It's going to be very close between him and Ben as Ben crosses the line. But he's now not doing the greatest of lap times. He's stuck in the 29s now, 28, sorry. And we've got Sean again, still yet to put that tyre on. Sorry, I keep banging on about the hard tyres, but it does make a difference to this race. And he needs Michael to get out of the way. He was just completely out of control. And Michael does get out of the way this time. He'll be pleased with that. Adam doing a great job still in that Jordan in 6th. Big gap back to Dean who's 7th, and we still know he's got to pit for it. Will as well. It's a fair old battle going on here as Brian comes out straight into the middle of the fight for 7th place, and Will takes him out. But he probably thought he's being let through, and Will slows down to let Brian take the place back, but he's lapping him, so really it's up to Brian to get out of the way. So Will's lost the position to his teammate and all that. So we expect a few people to jump up at the end of this race. Adam maybe one, definitely Chris, because you know he's definitely run that harder compound tyre. I think Dean might have messed his strategy up a little bit, so we'll see where he drops back to. And Liam might jump up a few places as into the pits comes Leon, but more importantly into the pits comes Nathan. And what's the gap to Ben? Well, we've got a replay of Ben, so what's this all about on that tricky downshift corner, and he's lost the back of the car, or lost the car into the gravel, and any hope he had of a podium is gone with that. And disaster for the Ferrari driver. That's going to mean he's going to finish 4th, and Nathan's definitely going to be 3rd because he's not going to catch Lewis. Lewis still charging after Jake for the lead, but I think Jake's got it covered as we start the last lap, and Nathan will be relieved for that. I think he may have still had it anyway, but it would have been close. Sean pits for the hard tyre on the last lap. Ferrari driver not had a stellar race since that moment at turn 3 in the second lap, and it's really not worked out for him. And there's a Tyrrell off. Who is it? They were both running together, and it was Nick. So Nick obviously trying to get out of the way of his teammate. He's made a mistake, and Dean's going to have to pit for the hard tyre again. We feel that was a bad strategy decision, and that's dropped him right down at the end of this race. So in he comes, and he'll probably realise that as he's leaving the pits that he's messed this up a little bit. Will pits behind him though, so he's maintained 9th place. Will be behind him in 10th. But Jake coming through the last few corners, doesn't have to worry about any of that. It was a bit closer than I think he thought it was going to be, but he's going to beat Lewis. And Lewis will be ruined that time he lost at the start of the race, and battling with Ben and that. But Jake comes across to make it 2 out of 2 in the centre car. Jake, Lewis almost throws it away on the last corner, but he bring the Mansell car home in 2nd place, the Williams Renault, ahead of his teammate Nathan Tompkinson, who driving the Riccardo Patrese Williams Renault, comes home 3rd, and he's in the end very well clear of Ben in the Jean Alesi Ferrari number 28. And then the biggest shock of the race, Adam on debut brings the Jordan Ford home in 5th place, the number 33 car driven by Andrea de Cesaris back in the day. He comes home 5th. Brilliant drive from Adam. 6th for Sean. He'll be very upset about that in the Prost Ferrari. 7th, a great comeback from the back of the grid from Chris Clements there in the Nelson Piquet Benetton Ford number 20. Comes home 7th, and he's beaten one of the McLarens, so he'll be pleased with that, as Liam, why not, on the last lap has more issues with back markers. This time Brian, McLaren Honda number 2 Gerald Berger car, beats the number 4 Tyrrell Honda of Dean, just Stefano Modena, and ahead of Will in the Michael Schumacher Benetton, finishing 10th. And then Luke in the Martin Brundle Brabham Yamaha comes home 11th. So it's Jake that wins from Lewis, and Nathan, Ben, Adam, stunning effort, Sean, Chris, Liam, Dean, Will, Luke, and then it was Nick 12th in the Tyrrell Honda. Lewis for the fastest lap on lap 17. 13th then went to Brian in the Brabham Yamaha, ahead of Leon in the 2nd Jordan Ford, and then Michael in the Soul Leighton House Ilmore. So that's that, and we'll see you at Spa next week.